And welcome into another episode of the Wash Up Walk-Ons podcast. A very special guest tonight. Kevin will be here. But tonight we're going to be joined by CEO of The Swarm, Brad Heinrichs. Show brought to you by FanDuel this year and many other beautiful sponsors, including The Swarm.
How about it?
How about that logo, though? Like every time we pop this thing on, I'm like, God, that hawk is it's beautiful.
Isn't that cool?
Did you draw that?
No, I didn't. I went out to a website and did like an auction where I paid a bunch of artists. I basically said, hey, I'll give $1,500 to the logo that I pick.
Yeah.
And we just got all these submissions. I mean, literally hundreds of them, and then ultimately settled on this one. I think it's pretty good. Pretty good logo.
It's snazzy. It's with the A kind of modern and like sleek. It's good, man. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Hey, Kevin.
How we doing, guys?
Great.
Well, we are excited to learn tonight about we've learned about the Swarm, but in this this is not your first time on the show, but in this ever-changing environment, which I'm sure you sit there and just hope that, like, God, can we get some consistency for 2 or 3 years in a row here?
How about it? Yeah. If there's anything for sure, it's that the rules are going to change every year. It's just, until litigation happens or some sort of something from Congress or whatever, it's going to just evolve. I don't see it becoming concrete overnight.
Do you take that upon yourself to educate on the ever-changing rules? Is there a place that you, Brad, can go as the Swarm? Like, do you have to ask the guys from like Virginia's, like, you get together with these like collective heads and you're like, hey, here's the rules meeting for this year? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, so good question. I talked to other collective leaders. I talked to Beth, and the Big Ten Beth gets sort of updates on what they're hearing. And then I read the probably the same guys out on Twitter that you do, Mitt Winter, who's a big NIL attorney in Kansas City who's very involved, and others that I just follow, and then I also talked to Tyler Barnes, and when I talk to other collective leaders, a lot of them play things close to the vest. Tyler's out there on the ground, and he's saying, "Can you're not going to believe what this school's doing right now." And so you kind of learn from him in the trenches as to what these other schools are doing to push the envelope, if you will, and still comply with the rules or not.
Who's out there enforcing the rules these days? Anybody yet?
Doesn't seem to be, and it's really interesting. We had if you guys just to kind of give you and the listener some sort of idea. So on July 1, everything changed.
Right.
We had the old rules, and then rev share hit July 1. And so what happened was a lot of schools or collectives, I guess, if you will, emptied their piggy banks in the spring to pay people to kind of front load everything.
Sure.
Because then the $20.5 million kicks in July 1. So that was a very interesting time, if you can imagine.
They were telling kids, hey, don't worry, we got an advance,
Yeah.
And the door, right?
Right. And so that happened. And then anything after July 1, if you eke an NIL deal of any kind, if it's more than $600, which let's be clear. I mean, they're all
less than these days.
A long snapper gets 300, but everybody else.
Well, and they made it very clear, by the way, in some of the implementation guides or whatever that they've produced, that giving a kid $599 deals does not comply. Okay. Right.
First idea crossed off the list.
Yeah, cross that one off, right? And so then you have to submit any sort of deal to this NIL clearinghouse, and this clearinghouse is operated by Deloitte. Mm-hmm. Okay, Deloitte, one of those accounting big four accounting firms, and it has to be approved. And so here's what happened, Matt. I'll just give you a real interesting, live real case scenario. So-and-so company wants to have 2 of our football players come to an event, sign autographs, and take pictures. And they're going to pay them a couple $1,000 each to do it, 2 hours, whatever, right?
Yep.
Completely legitimate. They're bringing people into their store. It doesn't get any better than that. They call us. They say, hey, this event's going to be in it's like 20 days from now. Oh, no problem. We quickly get a deal put together. And what do we have to do? Submit it to the NIL. Go.
Let me guess. 20 days later is still pending.
Oh, so that was back in July, and it got approved last week.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
So, and then I find out that they've got
adding bureaucracy to things, right?
They've got like 2, maybe 3 people working on these things
for the country.
Yeah. So you wonder why these deals take forever to get approved. Well, they're not allocating the resources necessary to do it. But what's causing a problem though is, imagine if you're one of those kids, you go do the deal. 2 months later, you haven't been paid, right? Because the deal hasn't even been approved yet. And then you get offered another one, and you're like, "Do I want to? Yeah, am I gonna sign up for this and do this other thing and not get paid again? So it's there to say that there are some kinks in the process would be an understatement. I'm hopeful that they start things start to move a little bit better, but yeah, it's been a very interesting time, and seeing how other schools are evolving with this, has really been eye-opening.
So I'm curious more about that too. Is obviously severely understaffed for the job they've been given. Is there a whole lot of scrutiny in the deals that come their way, or are they just rubber stamping everything? That
I was going to say, could Brad just send through
how much can they really sink their teeth into?
We want Mark Gronowski to meet everybody at the local strip.
They're not going to look up the backup so-and-so from this school to see what his market value is worth. How that's going to take them way too long with the pile of papers on their desk. No.
Yeah, but it apparently is not a rubber stamp, because if it was, I would think that things would move a lot faster. So they're obviously doing their due diligence. Now we're not getting these deals kicked back to us. It's just taken months for them to get approved. And that time lag is a real problem. So, one of the things that they're looking at, guys, just for you guys probably know this, but maybe the listeners don't, is that they're trying to determine whether or not 2 things is, are they exchanging their NIL for endorsement or promotion of goods and services for a valid business purpose for a company who is doing something for profit.
Right.
Okay. That's the new deal. So if you guys remember way back when I set this thing up and I came on your show and you're like, who the hell is this dude?
Half your money was due for nonprofit, right?
Yeah. So, so I set up, what I did though, is I set up a nonprofit arm of Swarm, and I set up a for-profit piece of Swarm. And the nonprofit was, hey, Hawkeye fans, give us money, tax deductible. We're going to pay these guys to do work for charity. Okay. Right. Under the new rules post July 1, you can't do that anymore. Can't do that anymore. Can't pay these kids to go do work for charity, because we are not a for-profit. The nonprofit piece, the 501c3 arm is a nonprofit organization that cannot. So under the new rules, we cannot do what we used to do. Okay. But we have our for-profit piece. Okay. The Swarm Inc. Whereas before, what we would do with Swarm Inc. is that we would contract with businesses and do exactly what's legal right now, which is, hey, I've got this car dealer, want you to come down there, do a commercial, pay you this money. You're going to promote their car dealership, and you're getting paid. I mean, that's the epitome of NIL, right?
I just saw the Xavier Wampa commercial of Walmart or Powerade or something.
Yes, and that was again, those kinds of things come through the Swarm Inc., right? So what we're looking to do, what we're going to do, just to kind of, that's sort of a spoiler alert here, is that we're going to be shutting down our nonprofit piece in the very near future, and we are going to focus on our for-profit piece, the Swarm Inc. Swarm still exists. Mm-hmm. We are fortunate in that we set this thing up. I set this thing up 3 years ago, anticipating that this might happen or something like it could happen, and so we don't have to restructure anything. And what we're going to do is, if you guys give us money or somebody gives us money, like they have been in the past, we're going to take their money, instead of using it to pay Xavier Nwankpa to go deliver Meals on Wheels on a Saturday. We're going to be setting up events where we are an events management company. And we will, the money that we get donated to us will translate into tickets for the event. And then we will share in the revenue with the student athletes that we bring to the event. So again, it's you see kind of how that can track and work.
So
they're getting a revenue share. Are you technically buying a ticket instead of donating to this for-profit enterprise? It will be the same thing. Your donation, your $200 a month or a year or whatever, will translate into tickets to one of these events. In which case, we'll bring. And it won't be, if you guys think about this, before we had to pay, 150 to 200 student athletes for the Swarm. Now it's going to be more your elite people. I say elite people. They're all great people. But like the ones that are, I shouldn't have said it that way. But your players that are on the field that are making a huge difference in the outcome of the game. How about that?
20 football players, a handful of basketball players.
The good guys.
Wrestling has their own thing, right?
The ones that you read about in the newspaper, always, right?
Versus everyone else getting their share of the pie from the school.
And we're gonna try to, we're gonna share in the revenue in these events with the student athletes. Now, I say that now. I was talking to Kirk literally an hour ago, and we were talking about this, and he said, this thing looked different 3 weeks ago than it does now, and it'll probably look different 3 weeks from now than it does today. And I'm like, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
And so, we may pivot again, but that's where we're going.
Now, these are the current rules, but nothing's been codified, right, in Congress. In the lawsuit, to my knowledge, is still being appealed. So
there was a House settlement. So they settled.
Yeah.
So we have current rules. But here's the thing, guys. Okay, and I'm gonna inject my opinion. Okay,
we love that.
I've been in a few
opinion-based podcasts. We are not a fact-based podcast.
I'm going to inject my opinion, and I have been a part of a few lawsuits in my day. Okay,
we almost were with the university.
Not with anything to do with the university. This is my own business.
We almost were, is what I was saying.
Oh shoot!
I was
sorry to hear that.
No, we got them back down. We big dicked them.
Oh well, yeah. Well, you've got that. What is it, BDE that you guys have?
That's what we carry around.
Yeah. So. I don't even know where I was at this point.
You're interjecting your opinion on this.
Oh yeah. So the rules before all this started, before the Supreme Court said you can pay players, right? The universities basically said the salary cap for these players is $0. Right. Nobody gets paid anything. You guys understand that, right? When we were in college, we got nothing, and it didn't matter how good you were or not.
Yeah.
Scholarship, and it's all you get, right? Yeah. And so they basically said, this is a problem. It's kind of an antitrust issue, right? Mm-hmm. And now there's a case, and they sort of arbitrarily moved that 0 to 20.5. All right.
Without any collective bargaining, though. So
in my opinion, there's no collective bargaining, but it's still a one-sided deal, right? Mm-hmm. That's where I think there's going to be a problem. In my view, I mean, this is interjecting Brad Heinrichs' opinion. Okay, not to say this is what I want to happen. I think it's best for Iowa, by the way, that there is a cap and everybody abides by. I'm just telling you that right straight up. We want a cap.
Yeah.
But now I'm telling you what I think is going to happen, which is that there's a concept called antitrust.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is like, so I own an actuarial firm, right? If I went to all my competitors and I said, hey guys, let's have dinner and make ourselves a lot of money here. Let's say that we're only going to pay our actuaries $100,000 max cap. We're not paying anybody more than $100,000. And if we all agree to it, hey, we're going to make tons of money, right?
Yeah, because they don't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah.
Right. We're covering everything. Well, that's an antitrust problem. There are laws against that because the employers are getting together and deciding the max that they're going to pay players. Okay. And then the Supreme Court basically said, well, you can't do that. There's an issue here. And they should have the right to make money. Okay. But from my perspective, changing the 0 to 20.5 million hasn't fixed the fact that the employers or the entities are getting together and deciding what they're going to pay players.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and courts like free markets. They're not, you know, they don't like this concept of antitrust. And so anyway, that's what I'm concerned, or what I think, you know, could happen is because the players don't get a say in this 20.5, right? They didn't get to decide it. It was decided for them. And so what I believe will probably happen, much to my chagrin, is that one of two things. One, somebody's going to sue, and the court's going to say, you guys can't get, you know, just like you couldn't, it wasn't legit to go out and say that the cap is 0. Saying that the cap is 20.5 is really no different. It's just a bigger number. Mm-hmm. You guys are getting together and saying what you want, and the players have no say in that.
Because that 20.5 million number, that came from out of thin air, like arbitrary. That didn't come from, it came from like a proposed amendment during the House
settlement. It was decided upon in this lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, to me, it'll either be that cap just gets abolished, and it'll be a little bit like Major League Baseball, where, you know, you have Royals and you have Yankees, you know, when you look at payrolls, okay, right. or which is what we start to follow the NFL model, and the players unionize and collectively bargain, in which case now you end up having, you know, both sides deciding what this cap is, which is what happens in the NFL. The only thing that could unilaterally keep, say, a $20.5 million cap and there's no problems is if Congress gives them an antitrust exemption.
Yeah.
They basically give them an exemption and say, you guys are special, and it's okay that there's a cap, and that's fine. And if they give them that, then we may actually have a cap. But until such time,
I've actually heard some politicians be open to that, like especially down in like very football heavy states like Texas and down south. Yeah.
Yeah. So
is that what they're hoping happens? They think.
I mean, I heard the schools are lobbying hard for it. And
it depends on which school you're talking about.
Because essentially you bring, I have not thought about this before, but you bring
schools have the ears of their politicians. Yeah. These are big institutions in the States.
You're essentially banking, if you're the people deciding that number, you're like, okay, well, they've gotten nothing. What if we just throw them 20?
Right.
That they'll be happy with that, right? Until they aren't. Especially because is there any legislation or plan or structure in place for that to adjust for inflation? Because these
it is going to be annually adjusted.
Okay.
And I don't know. I haven't looked to see exactly what the metric is that adjusts the number, but it is going to go up. Okay. Maybe with inflation over time.
Yeah, because obviously the schools are going to continue to make more money. The media rights deals are going to, which funnel into that revenue, is going to continue to get bigger and bigger every time they sign a new contract. So there's got to be some wiggle in there for it to grow. But you're right. I have not thought about that. And I think the NFL model, from what I understand, is that's kind of what KF, that's where he wants this thing to go.
And I don't blame him. I mean, you
Yeah.
think about it, the NFL has got it figured out. And it's actually kind of crazy. He said this to me more than once, and I agree with him, which is we have a model. We have a framework out there that works.
Yeah.
Why are we ignoring it? But, and even in talking to Beth, she makes a good point, which is that let's say we move to that model. Well, that model doesn't just happen overnight. Moving to a collectively bargained model might take 3 years of machinations to actually get there. So, so what that really just means though is no matter which direction this thing ends up going, the rules are going to continue to evolve. We are not at the place where we know exactly the way it's going to be now and forever.
So this just nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing. As you gain adulthood, you gain access into adulthood. We're 30 now, Kev. You realize that nobody actually knows what they're doing, and everything's made up.
People, and they tend to do pretty well, but everyone else is.
And just to talk about the collective bargaining piece, I'm talking about might take years to get there. There are certain states, guys, that don't allow collective bargaining.
Really?
I think so.
Seems illegal.
I think so.
I
think so.
I could pull that up.
How does the NFL get around it?
Have Grant look. I've been told that. I may be perpetuating a lie, but I feel like there are some states.
There's probably something crazy like that. We'll look it up. I want to take a quick moment to thank another sponsor of the show, Graze. Brad, have you ever had Graze?
I have. Yeah, they're the chicken lips people, right?
They sure are. They sure are. You know Pete and Kim?
I don't know them personally, but I know of them.
They're good people. They produce great chicken lips, which are just big old juicy chicken breasts, but also sourdough pizza and street tacos in mass quantity. If you'd like to bring such food to a tailgate or maybe just into your home for a dinner, it would be hard pressed. And Kev, you can back me up. I just simply don't know the people behind the food at Graze. I don't know if there's other people in the Iowa City area that are more into making food for other people and giving them an experience than these people.
But they are also big supporters of Iowa football. I've been in the facility when they're serving up Graze and everybody's excited about it. So
they love nothing.
It was always a happy day in the facility when it was a Graze days. Hey, you know what's for dinner? It's like, I heard it's Graze, man. It's like, oh hell yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yes. Or the specialist got out there early and the word gets back to the other. It's Graze tonight, boys. Oh yes. Love that. And another sponsor of the show, Eagle Point Solar. Last time you were on, Brad, we had Eagle Point on as well. You mentioned how you have you got the solar panels down there. Sun is always shining in Florida. So
yeah, until there's a hurricane. Yes, they're
outside the hurricanes.
Yes.
Don't have to deal with hurricanes though in Iowa. So don't worry about the hurricanes sweeping away your solar panels. EaglePointSolar.com. They're bringing you the sun. They do it all in-house. They have the entire system, the entire front to back. They're going to audit your energy bill, tell you how much you could be saving, how many panels you need if you wanted to get into it. Here's the breakdown of how long it's going to take to pay it off. And then you're in the green. And with, we talked about the other day, AI, all this shit, rising energy costs. You never know. You can take that into your own hands. The sun is free. It's just up there waiting to be harnessed. Eagle Point Solar. I want to go back to something you said right at the beginning of that conversation, Brad, which was, I'm hopeful it will change in the processing of the deals. Are you actually hopeful? Or you just you're wishing, but is there anything that's actually giving you hope in the current structure? Or
I maybe misspoke there. It was probably more a wish.
Yes.
Than hope. The one thing that has given me a little bit of hope, if you will, is that those deals that were submitted in early July that were literally approved this last week actually got approved. So like something finally happened.
Sure.
So that gives me a little hope, but my goodness, when you're talking about July, August, September. You're looking at 3-month lags to get something approved. That's not fair to the kids. It's just not.
Right.
I mean, if you're a kid and the last thing you want to do is agree to a deal and do the work and have the choice. You can either not get paid because they rejected the deal, or you can take the money and then be ineligible. And that's not an option.
So these guys are doing just deals in good faith, hoping they come back eventually.
Is the money just sitting in like escrow, or like what if like they do the event, hasn't gotten cleared yet, the business just holds on to the money until they can clear it?
Well, or they'll give it to the swarm. We hold on to it and then pay them whenever the deal is finally paid or the deal is finally approved. But when you're the kid, you're kind of like, am I ever going to get paid for this? And then you get more and more deals, and you're kind of going, should I even waste my time if I'm never going to get paid? Or it could also come back, and this hasn't happened to us yet, but it could come back as, let's say you had, Tyler, let's say that I'm going to give you $25,000 to go do a commercial for a car dealership, and you're like, or multiple commercials, and you're like, hell yeah, right? And then they come back and you do the thing, right? Because you're like, $25,000, this is great. And then 3 months later, they come back and say, you're a fucking long snapper. You're not worth $1,500. And then all of a sudden, you're kind of like, would I have done this for $1,500?
And they'd be right. And you know what? What's crazy is like in our head, the way because we went through it with no money, right? I'm thinking, man, if they give me $10, I'm just gonna be stoked, But these kids now, they expect different. They make a couple bucks here, and they're like, well, now this is the standard, right?
Did you guys see the interview with John Calipari? That when he was talking about NIL, I found it very interesting, the psychology of it. He says, we are ruining these college kids to some level.
Yeah.
Sure. He said, I had a player decent college player, but not NBA material.
Yeah.
Okay. And he graduates, and it's time to get a job, and he goes and gets a job, and the job, and he got a good job, and it was going to pay like $40,000 or $50,000. And he's right out of college. Absolutely. Great. Yep. And he goes to the coach and he says, Coach, they're only offering me $40,000 or $50,000. It's like, do I have to show up for this?
So it's a good,
you're used to at 19 living on 100, 200. God knows how much a Kentucky basketball player gets paid, but now you're going to be in the workforce with actual bills, like you have to pay your housing bill and stuff, and living on a quarter of that, maybe less, depending on how much you were making. Yeah.
And John wasn't suggesting solutions. He was just sort of making a mockery of where we are. But he'll also tell you that if we don't play ball in this world, if we don't raise money and pay these guys, the coach, the programs are going to suffer.
Yeah, you'll fall behind
in a big way, right?
Because other teams are willing to.
Yes.
I forgot to open this entire interview. This brings us to a full circle moment, because I was going to say, Grant wanted me to open this thing with, and I just outed him, but he wanted me to open it with, welcome to the show, Brad. Mark Gronowski, $2 million, more or less.
I wish I could tell you.
And I would, and I told him I will do that, but I forgot to do it. But it begs the question whether Mark got 2 or 1 or somewhere in between, whatever it is, these numbers and the system and the show of college football, college basketball, college football, it's so far outgrown like levels of sanity and what we should be, what these kids value really is. Because let's be honest, like you could sit there and say, yeah, well, they're worth what people are willing to pay, right? But you bring in that question of like, okay, for a couple years now we've completely desensitized them to money, and now they're not worth that anymore.
Yeah, so you bring up good points. I'll give you another one that's sort of a head scratcher. So you guys, I listen to you guys a lot, and you guys will talk about college football, and you'll talk about pro football a little bit. Anybody that you run up against on the street or talk to, and you ask them, do you like college or pro better? Like the pure football fans, a lot of them will say, oh, I like both, right?
Yeah.
Think about what those pro players are making and compare to what these college players are making. If you think about the amount of money that's being generated by each, okay, and you started looking at it from a what's fair perspective, college football is a big deal.
Yeah.
It is a huge deal. And so, to kind of say, they don't deserve, all they deserve is a scholarship. Man, they're creating a lot of revenue.
Worth is far beyond what they are scholarship, right? I mean, you're talking about billions upon billions of dollars across these 100 and whatever D1 schools that they're
right.
I think the answer is they are legitimately worth that. Like the numbers are the numbers. Yep. The problem is psychologically for 18 to 22-year-olds, I think we probably eventually have to find a way while they're in that to somehow calm the water of their emotions and their perception of like some serious financial classes, or like get them set up with some investments where it's like, hey buddy, because for us, like Kevin and I went through it, and it's a real struggle for a lot of people. Like that was our life for 5 years. And just to a large extent, our entire identity. I'm an Iowa football player. I go home for Thanksgiving. I go home for summer break. People see me around town. That's Tyler Kluver. He plays for the Hawkeyes, right?
Sure, that happened.
And then you graduate, and we didn't even get paid. We didn't even have the financial aspect on top of it. It was just like, oh, we got to play in Kinnick. We got to wear the name on the back of our jersey. And that still inflated our self-worth to a point where when we were done, oh, shit.
You lose yourself a little bit if you're not ready for it.
What am I? Who am I?
Who am I without college football?
And you guys have had an entire show on this because I listened to it.
Oh, yeah.
It was very interesting. And the psychology of it is real. I will tell you that our guys, there's going to be a mixed bag, but I remember, I may even mention it to you, like Nick Jackson, he took 100% of his NIL money and threw it in the S&P 500 index fund.
He's crushing right now.
Good for him.
Right. And so, I was like, gosh, I'm so impressed that we've got some kids that are like that. But yeah, there's always going to be some that'll squander it. And
anybody taking their payments in Bitcoin?
It has been asked.
I'm sure it has.
Really?
It has been asked.
Wow.
Yes.
Do you entertain that at all? Or you just push them into like, hey, buddy,
we're giving you cash. Go buy Bitcoin yourself.
No. Yeah, I say no.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, no, it's definitely got to be harder on them if they're coming out as a senior, and now on top of all that psychology of like I'm an athlete, and now on top of that being taken away from you, your massive paychecks are going away. Yeah. I think
you guys want to hear something? You want to hear some really crazy stuff that's
sure.
kind of starting to become like, I can't even believe that this might be happening.
Yeah.
So you think about how the rules changed July 1 for revenue sharing. So everybody, so once you go to college and you're part of the program, call it $20.5 million. And by the way, every school gets to decide how they want to split that $20.5 million, or even if they want to give $20.5 million, they don't have to. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, because they're going to bankrupt the university.
But some schools, and there's some clever dudes out there, guys. Some of these schools have started to throw around the idea of, hey, what if we paid the high school kids before they got here a bunch of money, and then don't pay them as freshmen, and we use the 20.5 on the sophomores, juniors, and seniors.
Pay them with what money?
Is that NIL money?
Collective money.
Collective money.
Because
there's no rules around them, right?
There's no. Well, they're in high school. I mean, the NCAA doesn't govern them.
Yeah.
So they ink a little freshman deal while they're 17.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, let's say you're going to pay the kid, I don't know what the numbers are. Let's just pick a number. Say it's $50,000, since we've already talked about that number. They were going to make $50,000 in revenue share. Well, you pay them $50,000 out of the collective as a senior in high school, and then they get to the school, whatever SE school we're talking about. And they don't. That's 50 grand. They can pay somebody else in revenue share. That is a sophomore, junior, or senior. So the collectives front loading it as a high school kid, so they don't have to pay them as a. See what I'm saying? They're paying. I'm going to pay you your freshman year money out of the collective.
Cap, yeah.
You guys following me?
That's
I mean, like I said, these kinds of things. It's an interesting world, and it's changing and evolving by the day. You know, there'll be a loophole that you think exists, and then somehow it'll get shut down, or a new loophole will be discovered, and you just like, okay. The one thing I'm very happy about, guys, is that one, we have the infrastructure put together with the swarm to be able to pivot whatever the rules are.
Yeah.
Okay. And we haven't knee-jerked. We haven't dissolved ourselves. There have been some collectives that have just folded up shop and they don't exist now. And I'm like, how are you guys going to get any sort of competitive advantage? I mean, I view the swarm as the overage above the 20.5 million.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we're going to be a difference maker for Iowa athletics. To me, that's a big message. And if you want to, and we run a very lean organization. I don't take any money. I try to make this as skinny as I can from the standpoint of an expense perspective. So give money to us. It's going to players. And now going forward, I can tell you it's going to be going to our elite players. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be going to all 100 football players and then everybody on the basketball team. And you know what I mean? Like it's not going to be diluted. It's going to be more focused and concentrated on our best players.
I want to get into that. Before that, though, I want to touch on the collectives just completely dissolving. Obviously, there was a lot of unknown when the rev share thing became. Yeah. You're sitting there as well as every collective across the country going, okay, are we still a thing? Are we? Yeah. Well, you and I had the talks of like, hey, do you want to promo the swarm this season? And you're like, I would love to. I don't know if we're going to be around.
Yeah, you don't know, right?
What did that look like? And then, I mean, some collectives are just like, all right, screw it. Like the 20.5 is good. Some of them are literally gone. They're just gone now, or what
they would do is they would merge into like the Learfields of the world, right? Where Learfield, is kind of tied at the hip a little bit to the athletic department, but still a separate entity, and they try to help, raise money, or they make money on advertising, and they may hire the student athletes to do promotions for their corporate partners, those sorts of things. Those are the kinds of things we're going to try to do, by the way, with the Swarm Inc. and have been trying to do. So if you know any businesses out there that want elite Iowa athletes to represent them or to sponsor some of their goods and services, please let me know.
This is a great question by Steven. Elite players, you say. Was the Swarm involved in our new elite women's basketball star that we
How about that, huh? Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And I'm giving Brad all the credit.
No, don't give me all the credit. But Jane and I have had some discussions about that, and let's just say that we're there to help represent. And
hey, McKenna, any way we can help.
Yeah. Well, what's really interesting about Jan now is Iowa women's basketball. She can get into the living room of literally
every player in the country.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's never happened for our sports, right? Where you can say, oh, she's a 5-star and she's in California. Oh, let's see if we can get in her top 5 and I'll go visit her. Yes. Caitlin Clark, the Caitlin Clark effect is still being felt. And, our fans, they see the atmosphere, they see the coaching staff, they see our success. And there's a great culture on our women's basketball team, and these other players want to be a part of it. Lucy Olson was another one, and I was extremely involved in that. And she and her family fell in love with Iowa. But would they have even given us a look if we didn't have Caitlin Clark? I mean, if there wasn't that success, no.
Caitlin's going to make a lot of money in her life. Already has. And will continue to. I don't know if it's possible for her to ever make the amount of money to equal the value that she will have brought the university and probably the WNBA when she's done. It won't even be close.
If you looked up, there was a Wall Street Journal article when she was a senior in college, or junior in college, I guess it was, or last year. And the lady interviewed me. I remember doing the interview, and I said that Caitlin Clark is going to have the same impact on women's basketball that Tiger Woods had on men's golf. And she was still in college at the time, and I'm proud of that comment at this point, because I think it's starting to look like it's aging pretty well.
You're right on track there.
We'll see.
Look at the ratings, right?
We'll see, but I think she's done things for the sport that were so many nobody saw coming, really.
Going back to the recruiting stuff, though, are you involved with high school agents now? Like, that's becoming a thing. Is high school athletes having agents?
It's happened. Yeah. Everybody's got an agent now, and what's wild is, unlike in the NFL, you don't need any credentials. You just need to call yourself an agent.
Kevin and I, we talked about this last time. Kevin and I were going to start at the agency, walk-on agency.
And what's really bad, I'll tell you what's really bad, is that a lot of these agents are asking for 15, 20%. And that's a crime. I mean, the NFL agents get, I think, 3%.
It's 3% standard, yeah.
And, taking 20%. And I've told our guys, like, hey, guys, if you want an agent to feel cool that you have an agent, go ahead, but it's not going to change what I'm going to pay you. Okay. So if you just want to give 15 to 20% of your money away to somebody else, that's up to you. But
Brad's like, that agent ain't working me out of an extra.
I'm going to pay you this. So just know that's going to, you just decide whether or not you want to give part of your money away. Now, obviously, when it comes, if you're going to be a drafted player and go to the NFL, yeah, an agent's a good idea. Go do it. Right? It makes total sense, but it's not going to, unless that agent is going to get you deals outside of the swarm. What do you need an agent for? And the people that really are getting deals outside are your best players, right? Your elite players. But there's almost every kid on the team has an agent, it seems like. So
it's crazy.
Is there, just to give a little color, is there like 3, 4, or 5 agents that are representing the majority of the team, or are you dealing with dozens of different agents?
Yeah, it's dozens. There's some that are
that's horrible,
or more prevalent than others. But yeah, you'll get a guy that's just he was a former AAU coach.
Oh God,
right? And he's mentored him his entire life, right? And so he's looking out for his best.
He's coming back to get his.
That makes me want to puke. Dude.
Oh, that's exactly right. Yeah.
My goodness. Well, sounds like there's some times in your life, Brad, when you could use maybe an alcoholic beverage from Big Grove Brewery.
Hey, Easy Eddie, baby. Boomtown. Yeah, I mean, now granted, on game day, you're gonna only find me drinking Swarm, guys.
I know.
I'm sorry. It's my allegiances are to the Exile and the Swarm. So I know you may not like that, and I think you guys have probably said you don't like the beer.
Never said that.
Oh, no.
Whatever.
Beer. I enjoy it.
Okay.
I will be honest. I'm not a beer guy. I don't. I've tasted
that's what
it.
I was thinking.
Someone bought me one, I think, at one of our events, and I drank a 10th of it. I just don't drink beer. But Big Grove.
That's why you look like you do, and I look like I do. I get it.
Yeah, there's a lot of other reasons for that that have to do with my insecurities and problems mentally. Big Grove Brewery joins us this fall during the season. Watch party. Go check out the games there. Going to Wisconsin next week. Excuse me. So you won't be able to go to enjoy the game at Kinnick. You can go to one of Big Grove's locations around Iowa or the one over in Omaha. They keep expanding. And then our final one, Brad, have you ever been to the old Hamburg Inn? Great.
Sure
spot.
have. Been yes, I have. That's
have.
a good spot.
Don't you love the
Really good
ambiance, the history
Oh, yeah.
that's involved in that place?
Oh, absolutely. How long has that place been there? I guess
I
it
could probably
probably
find
says
it.
somewhere, but it's been there a while.
It's a long established
It's an
spot.
institution.
It is an institution. It's
Yeah.
like McBride Hall, basically the same thing. Kevin and I are going to try and slide in and get some pancakes at some point during this home run. We're going to have Nate Kading on the podcast at the end of this week, hopefully on Sunday sometime, filling our bye week with some great guests, and he's going to tell us all about the Hamburg Inn and some other great spots around Iowa City. Hamburg Inn can get you right. You go eat breakfast there, get yourself a pie shake, high calorie, maybe walk that off at some point. Then you could visit one of the other establishments that's a partner of the Walk-Ons. We appreciate all of our partners. This entire episode is a Swarm sponsorship, so check them out as well. I've always wanted to ask, how did you get the hookup with the Powerade deal? Where what was the impetus for that?
Atlantic Bottling, out of Des Moines. They reached out to us actually to give them credit, and they wanted to be involved, and so things. We had many discussions and worked something out, and so Powerade is a big deal. Certainly on campus in the facility, you guys have been there. There's Powerade everywhere. It's good to partner with them.
Powerade, actually, Kev, I don't know if you remember, we had the Powerade. You obviously remember that our first year, we had the Powerade machine in the locker room.
Yeah, the dispenser in the
we had
in the locker room. Yeah,
we had literally like you'd
Oh,
walk
really?
into like a Culver's or a fast food restaurant, and there's the pop machine.
Yeah, it's the little paper cups. You can get water. You can get blue Powerade.
Just constantly. Oh my God. That was enough for me. That's all we needed, Brad, when we were in college. If you just give us free Powerade and let us put our last name on the back of the jersey, we did it for the love of the game.
Was it always the
Always
same
blue.
color Powerade?
Oh, on the sideline?
Always
No, sideline we had blue and red.
Yeah.
But
blue and red? Because I think now they have little individual containers of whatever.
The golden Swarm Powerade
anyway.
on the sideline.
Hey, there we go.
How did you guys come up with, or how did it funnel into the now, we'll call it current, as of October 1st, 2025? Now that you have the rev share, that's going to pay the majority of the players. How are you guys deciding, or how did you decide? How fluid is it, the amount of guys that get that over the top that you're talking about, the elite players, the better guys? Where did that decision-making process kind of start? And I'm sure Beth and Kirk and Tyler were all in on this. And how does that come together?
Well, it's a good question, and it's ongoing, right? And it's probably going to change by the year. It could be that we're going to pay our left tackle X dollars, right? And I'm making this up. We're going to pay our left tackle X dollars, and then that's what we have budgeted. But then we need another left tackle because ours graduated. This is obviously not realistic because our left tackle's
young guy.
Young guy. But let's say that happened, and we got to go to the port. We want to go to the portal to get him, and what we're budgeting to pay that left tackle is X, and the portal it's going to cost.
Good example would be last year. We spent a lot on Mark because we need a quarterback. Not just Mark, but we brought in Hank. We brought in we have a whole new quarterback room. Ideally, at the end of the season, we hope that Hank and Hecklinski and all of them are sufficient. We feel good about them, and we can spend that amount of money that was spent on Mark somewhere else.
You're right. If you're going to go to the open market to get somebody, you are going to pay more generally than what you have to pay someone that you've grown from a high school recruit up till now, whatever now is. And so what we want to be for football or basketball is that insurance, that if a reinsurance, I guess it would be, if you need help with a transfer, or you need help, that if I'm going to lose people if I don't pay them X, they're constrained by their budget, we need to figure out a way to attract and retain the best student athletes. And that's, I think, the Swarm's responsibility.
Do you ever have a day go by where you're not on the phone with now Ben or Kirk or Jan?
If you included Tyler Barnes in that, probably no.
It's constant.
Yeah, it's just fluid. I mean, this is the thing. What I'm telling you today is sort of our I'm going to call it loose game plan going forward. Could change next week. Okay, if we did this show 2 weeks ago, I would probably say some different things. Okay, so yeah, it's fluid, and but the one constant is that Hawkeye fans need to know that we're still very committed to helping the student athletes, helping the program, our athletics programs be successful. And it will not be sufficient to just say, okay, now the school's paying them. We don't have to worry about it anymore, because that's just not going to work. I mean, we could do that, but don't expect us to be super competitive. It will be very difficult. It will be very difficult.
The exact same thing.
Yes, there's going to be, the average payroll is going to be substantially higher than what RevShare is going to provide, unless the rules somehow change and something else happens. But until that time, I think that's where we are.
Kev, you got anything?
You gonna find any of that Oregon money out there? We got any
Can you find me
Iowa community?
Can you find me one of those billionaires that just kind of says, psh? I mean, it would make my job so much easier. I'd love to say, hey, you know what? Phil's got this. You guys don't need to worry about it. I would really love that.
I have a real question. So I was, scrolling through TikTok one night, and it's like the top 10 richest, or the richest person in every state, right? I'm like, all right, let's see who it is for Iowa. And I come across, and I don't know if this is correct or not. He's definitely one of, and I come across this Stein guy at Adel.
Oh, that's him.
Okay, so
that's him.
The way you answer that makes me think that we've maybe had some conversations with Mr. Stein.
First of all, he's
an ag guy. It came from. He's not.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for the interaction that you've had, and it's now coming through.
No. Imagine that, like, it's almost. I don't know the exact thing, but it's almost. Someone was telling me that like almost he gets a piece of almost every soybean planted or something. He's developed seeds.
Genius, whatever. Back in whenever he literally hybrid seed, and then sold it, and he's rolling in it, right? Guys like that, obviously. Maybe you've reached out. How many of those guys do you just sit there? Brad's just, hey, it's a random Tuesday. Let's look up if there's any the new Target CEO. He's
about that.
Brad. How many of those people are you just like, let me see if I can find a contact for this guy? And you're literally just cold. You're just cold calling.
Yeah, what I found is that if you are of that stature, it would be rare that you could just let's just look him up in the phone
I know, but
book
you've got
on
connections.
Google or whatever and call. What I'm trying to say though is that you usually need to have a channel. You have to know somebody who's friends with them and knows them, and then you kind of work through that. You can't go direct access. I would say Bruce Rastetter is a top 10 in the state for sure, and he's on the Swarm Board of Trustees and has been a big, big supporter of ours.
Funny story, Colton
time.
Rastetter,
so
obviously punted for a couple of years, was my holder. We missed the field goal the other day against Indiana at the end of the game, and I heard from Colton for the first time in years. He sent me a Snapchat.
Oh, really?
He was like, "Klub, I think we could have gone out there and made that." I think if you, me, and Miguel ran out there, I think we knock it through today in 2025. And I said, "You're goddamn right, we do, buddy."
I haven't watched it closely, but I saw something somewhere where the laces were sideways
They
or
weren't.
something.
They weren't
I
great.
don't know if it was not exactly. Yeah, I didn't see that. I just read something on Twitter where that was the
So
case,
this old guy right here doesn't want to give us any of his money. What a greedy. No, I'm kidding. It's some people don't care about sports.
No, well, yeah, and if he was going to pick a sports team that was nearest him to give money to, it would be
it's
the
not
bad
the
guys.
Hawkeyes. It's a little closer to Ames. I live 10 minutes away from him. I could go knock on his door probably.
Well, if you can get an
Trick or
in
treating's
there,
right around the corner. Bring Ken Diesel, cute costume. See if he's just passing out $100 bills.
Supposedly he if it makes you feel any better, Brad, I got a snapper. Actually, he was on a visit at Iowa. His name's Reese Stripmatter. Highest ranked snapper in Iowa. He's at Adel. Been working with him for 2 years. And I was like, I mentioned it to him because obviously he's out in Adel. I'm on the Adel high school field one day, and he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "How much money did you guys have to raise? Because they're building a new high school." He's like, "Well, we've got some rich guy out here in town, but he won't give us anything." And I was like, "He won't give you guys money either?" Oh my God. This guy doesn't want to. This guy is stingy. When you have that much money, Brad, what are you going to do with it?
It's got to be annoying having everyone ask for your money, though.
That's true. That's true.
Yes, and that's the balance that you want to walk. You have to be.
That's
careful.
why I don't plan on making that much.
Reaching out and touching base and tell them what we're trying to do, and see if it was something they're interested in. You can do that politely. Hounding them, most people don't like to be hounded. So
who else is rich? Have you reached out to them? How many other billionaires do we have in Iowa?
Well, you had one on your show that I reached out to, and I haven't been able to get anything. You remember him?
Bill Perkins?
Talking about former player.
I could maybe.
He was famously trying not to.
So hold on a second. You haven't heard from Bill?
Deal. No, I've reached out.
I don't want to. Okay, I don't.
Whoa. I don't be on this deal.
I don't want to.
You were somehow able to reach out, connect with him, and get him on your show.
Okay.
I can't get him on the phone.
At 31 years old, I might be able to be of service to someone for the first time in my life.
That would be amazing. I'd love to talk to him.
I'll see what I can do. What?
Have you read his book though? He's famously not trying to be a billionaire.
Yeah, he's trying to die with zero. That is his book.
Which I mean, you can give it away.
Well, if he's trying to die with zero,
I'm here to take the zeros, all the zeros. I'll see what I can do. That would be my fee is 3% as well. So
hey, you're qualified to be an agent
just as much as anybody else. All right, I'm not going to keep you any longer. Kevin, any other questions? It's crazy that you.
Yeah. I got some questions. Who are your picks this weekend?
Ooh, it's a bye week, so I don't really have any hot sports opinions. You should have told me.
I passed it on to Kluver. He was supposed to let you know that you got to have picks if you're going to come on the Wednesday.
Oh shit! You did tell me that. You did tell me. Here, I'll just read some off to you, Brad. We've got the you pull up the FanDuel app, which Brad probably can't do because he's involved with the Swarm. So if he made a bet, he'd probably get.
Yeah, this is we're entering dangerous territory here that I'm giving out.
Not gambling advice.
Not
gambling advice. All fun.
Okay, good.
What are the big games this week, Kevin? You know.
I mean, I can tell you who my picks are.
Yeah, I'd love some picks.
Yeah. I'm going to go to the SEC first, and I like Mississippi State playing tough this year, plus 14.5 at Texas A&M. Texas A&M is really riding high on a win over Notre Dame, but we don't know how good Notre Dame is. And I think the Mississippi State team is actually pretty tough. So I'm going to take them plus two touchdowns and the hook there. Going out west, I like the under 50.5 Penn State, UCLA. I don't think UCLA scores more than 10 points in that game. I think Penn State's just going to try to milk the clock out of there in the second half, and I think that game goes under. And then I got Michigan State plus 11.5 at Nebraska. I think this Michigan State team can be like a thorn in people's sides. Like, obviously, we saw it last year. Like, they got an offense that can score. That quarterback is a threat, and I think they keep this game close. So I'm going to take Sparty plus 11.5.
How many games do you want?
3.
Well, you're replacing Grant tonight, so that means at least 20.
Yeah, Grant gives us an entire slate. I don't know how closely you've been following. Probably not, Brad, this year. I am on an abysmal run with my betting picks to the point where I am now choosing my picks and then just flipping them to fade my.
To the
so
opposite?
In the spirit of that, I see the Iowa State game. Somehow, number 14 Iowa State is going on the road to Cincinnati. Sorsby, great quarterback for Cincinnati Bearcats. I see plus 1.5 for the Cyclones. I think they're going to win that game outright. But in the spirit of now, I suck at betting, we have to flip that. So I'm taking Cincinnati minus 1.5. They'll win by 1, of course. I see Wisconsin, Michigan. I think Michigan's going to dominate that game. I think Wisconsin sucks. So obviously,
Wisconsin may be looking.
Probably are. Hey, they've been doing 42 push-ups at the end of their practices and lifts all off season because we hung 42 on them last year. There's no way they stay in this game. Of course they do, because I would bet Michigan, so I'm going to take Wisconsin plus 16.5. And then, haven't been a lot of James Madison picks this year. I was heavy on the Dukes last year. Georgia State. But then I'm thinking it's minus 19.5, so I have to flip that and pick the Georgia State plus 19.5. I guess that's my pick. And Grant, have fun. Have fun deciphering what my real picks on that are. Now we're going to hear Brad's picks, not financial advice. Which is funny, because don't you do financial advice for a living?
I do give a lot of financial advice, and my financial advice would be to stay away from
betting,
from doing this too much. Yeah, but I don't want to trample on any of your sponsors. So if you were out there and you feel the need, my picks would be I think Iowa State's ready to lose, so I'm going to take Cincinnati. I'd probably would 1.5, no problem. I agree with you, Kevin, about Michigan State. If you're getting 11.5 points or something. 11.5. Does Nebraska beat anybody by 11.5? That's decent. When's the last time they won a Big Ten game by more than?
That would be a great trivia question. That's actually a good point.
I don't know. I don't know that they beat teams by more than.
It's a good question.
They beat them by more than 11.5. I think I'd probably go to the SEC, and I feel like Alabama Vanderbilt will be a score fest, and 55.5 points is not enough. And I think they'll just be going back and forth, and Vanderbilt can score, and he's going to get he's going to get to play forever, due to his lawsuit. So he's
speaking of getting to play forever. We had one of our Nebraska friends on, and he's talking about like that might be the next thing to get challenged in court is the NCAA.
There's no question. There's no question. I've talked to a lot of people about this, and if you start paying people, which we are, can you really say that? Can you really kind of limit their longevity?
Yeah, because now people are just going to say, "Well, I'll just start a new major until I die. I'll play till I'm 50."
Just keep playing sports, and gosh. You take some of these sports where, like women's basketball, they make more money in college sometimes than they do in the WNBA. They can we are playing. I don't know if you guys have noticed just in the last week, some of these pro league players are now becoming eligible to play in college.
No, I didn't see this.
Yeah, and so we're talking about basketball, like Euro players.
I did see that.
Yeah, and so that didn't used to be able to be, possible. But now you're like, well, wait a minute, what's the difference? They're getting, they're being paid just like our kids are being paid. I mean, imagine a world where Luka Garza is our center for for 7 or 8 years.
Are you still our center right now? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, he's still our guy. I mean, it's like I said, this whole thing.
That would be the death knell of college sports, I think. Though I think people would start to lose interest if you start cheering for 28-year-olds instead of the 22-year-olds who are actually going there to graduate. And
there are at least, I guarantee you, there's 25-year-olds on every roster right now.
Well, yeah, because I think we're in like the last year of the COVID years right now, or something like that, and
it's amazing.
Red shirts have gotten like handed out like candy. So
my last question, Brad, is: has there ever been a day in the 4+ years you've been doing this where you woke up or something happened and you're like, I'm done. I'm like, I got to turn this over to somebody else. I'm going to start looking for someone else to run the swarm. Like, I can't, this is bullshit. I cannot handle this.
I wouldn't say that thought lasts an entire day.
Okay.
There have been times when, I'll go out and read these internet message boards and guys will be ripping me for one thing or another.
Dude, you're just like Josie Jewell. Just
don't read the comment, Brad.
Just looking for the hate.
And I mean, Cade McNamara. You want to know how much grief I got for Cade McNamara?
Because you're the one choosing them, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. I was the one cutting up the tape and looking at the tape and kind of, and saying, hey, Kirk, I don't know what you're looking at this other guy. This 12 from Michigan has got to be the guy we want.
The money's going to this guy and nobody else.
Yeah, I mean, come on. But you'd be surprised at how many people, when things go sideways, get after me.
It's your fault. Yeah.
And it's just, I do this for the relationships, my relationship with Iowa and the relationships with the coaches that I have. Doesn't matter what we're doing. I guarantee you there are times when you guys have said, do I really want to keep going with this podcast? Is there a time when you guys have said, maybe we need to just kind of let this thing go? No, but you know what? I keep doing it.
Podcast.
You keep doing it. It's great.
I won't let Kevin go, and Drake we're 2 out of 3 at this point, and Kevin's just teetering on the edge every episode.
Clover just guilt trips me every episode.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. It's you get into those message boards, you figure out how dumb some people really are.
Yep.
Brad, we appreciate you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. And tell Grant I said hi. I was really looking forward to him grilling me at the end and asking me really uncomfortable questions. But tell him I said hi, and I hope that his Broncos start to suck.
I mean, they're not doing great so far, but yeah, I will let him know. He'll probably listen to this back, and I'm sure he'll hit me and be like, "Hey, tell Brad I reciprocate the high." So, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us. Awesome bye week, stress-free kind of this weekend. Don't have to sit through a Hawks game. There's no potential for a loss. Just everybody get healthy, get ready for next week. Anybody who's interested, Big Grove Friday night. Me and Corey brought a combo show. Going to be a good